Hey guys, so today I wanted to do a little video and talk about how I got my start in wanting to cover accessibility in gaming and why it's so important to me. I started gaming at a very early age. I'd say I got my first console when I was maybe just 3 or 4 years old. I got the Nintendo Entertainment System with a moderate size, CRT TV, sort of blocky, big old RCA TV. And I started playing games like Super Mario Brothers, and of course I got the Zapper, with the with the Duck Hunt games, and Hogan's Alley and Wild Gunman and all that. So when I was born, my eyes were a little bit crossed, and my hand-eye coordination wasn't that great. And so my mother came up with the idea to get me a game console. Actually, it was a joint idea between my mom and dad to get me a game console because it improves hand-eye coordination immensely, and among other things. So I got the console, and I played Super Mario Brothers, and my first control that I ever used was not the normal block rectangle Nintendo controller. It was actually the NES Advantage, which I'm sure people still have somewhere. And that really worked well for me because I used a lap tray, and I also had like a non-skid mat to keep it on, and I was able to manipulate both the buttons and the joystick with my left hand. And so I played with that for a few years. And then I got the Sega Genesis. And those controllers are very slippery for me, obviously, with the boomerang type design. So my dad opted to get me the Sega Genesis 3-button arcade stick. Forget what it's called. And then, I started. That was around the time I started playing beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage, Double Dragon. I really, really enjoyed those games, and I also really enjoyed fighting games. Now, when I was growing up, going to the arcades was the reward for doing well in school. And, occasionally we would go to the arcade, and then we would go bowling. And so I'd say my first encounter with any type of one-on-one fighting game was when I went to the bowling alley, because my mom used to bowl in leagues. I used to go to the bowling alley just to play on the Street Fighter 2 machine. I loved that game, and I still play it to this day. I have Street Fighter 5 for the PS4, and I have Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers, on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm just waiting on the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection when it comes out. I'm buying 2 different copies, one for the PS4 and one for the Switch. I know, some of you are gonna say it doesn't make any sense, but for me, I always wanted the option to play on the go. Anyway, I rambled a little bit. I went to the bowling alley just to play Street Fighter 2, and I loved it. Shortly after the Super Nintendo had come out, and my parents were separated, and when I would go to my dad's house, I had the Sega. My mom surprised me with the Super Nintendo. So when I got the Super Nintendo, she also got me Super Street Fighter 2, and I believe that was it. I believe it was Super Street Fighter 2. There wasn't any turbo or hyphen attached to that. So that was the closest thing that I had to playing Street Fighter 2 on the home console. And the first time I went to the arcade with my mom and dad, I laid my eyes on the Mortal Kombat arcade machine. I was 5 years old. I was scared of what I saw on the screen, but at the same time, it was something brand new, so my eyes were just glued to the screen, even though I just wanted to look away. So I decided to give Mortal Kombat a try. And man, I fell in love real quick. The digitized actors, the amount of blood and gore, even though that's not really an important part of the game for me, but the blood, the gore, the storyline, even though there really wasn't that intricate of a storyline in MK1, it appealed to me. And around 1992 or 1993, Mortal Kombat made its way onto the home console. And at the time, all we could do was rent the game. We went to Palmer Video. That's how long ago this was. It was Palmer Video. And it seemed like I was renting Mortal Kombat every week. And then my neighbors at the time told me that they had the game. So I had to basically go over to my neighbor's house when I didn't have a rental. I had to go over to my neighbor's house and be like every other kid, and every other kid that played the game even though it was back then considered to be MA-17. Every kid had to lie about what they did at their friend's house during the release of the original MK. Mom would come up to them. Did you have fun at your neighbor's house? Yes, Mom. You didn't play that Mortal Kombat game, did you? No, of course not. When we all knew we were playing that, and we were enjoying it. Finally, about a year later, I got my own, because unlike most kids my age, I knew what was real and what was fake and what was right and what was wrong. I wasn't going to go around trying to rip people's heads off or rip their hearts out. I was just playing the game for what it was, fun. And the one thing I will tell you is I had this irrational fear of the cartridge. So I would tell my dad to put it in his room somewhere while I slept because it couldn't be in my sight because I'd be scared. No judgments here, alright? So that's how I got my start with Mortal Kombat. Now, after the Sega and the Nintendo, I actually went backwards a little bit and got my hands on the Sega Master System, where I played games like Black Belt and Hang On. And the great thing about the Sega Master System was it had those rectangular controls like the NES did, but it could also accommodate your Sega controls. So I was able to play Master System games using my Sega Genesis Fight Stick. And Black Belt was my game. In fact, I remember one embarrassing moment playing this game. I was playing the game and I got really, really, really far. And there, back in the day there were no save states, no memory cards, nothing like that. So, if you died, that was it. And I'm fighting the dude with the two Eskrima sticks, or whatever they're called. They're bamboo sticks, but I'm fighting that guy. Sorry, my Facebook is blowing up today. Anyway, I'm fighting the dude with the Eskrima sticks, and he kills me. And my mama has company in the other room. They're talking. All of a sudden, tears start streaming down my face. I'm bawling because I had just lost in Black Belt, and in my experience, I had gotten far. When in reality, I hadn't gotten anywhere at all. Anyhow, so after the dawn of the 16-bit era, when I was about 9 or 10, I'll say 8 or 9 actually, 8 or 9, I got my hands on the PlayStation 1, and that's actually a funny story. Every parent has that typical response when their kid wants something new. Dad, I want this new pair of jeans, or Mom, I want to get this pair of shoes. And the response is go out and get a job or something to that effect. So I see the commercial for the PS1 and it's got that subliminal message, you are not ready, with an actual red letter E. I understood that. You are not ready. And I go over to my dad, it's about, let's say, July, when we start seeing commercials. I go up to him, I say, that's what I want for Christmas. He looks at me and says, get a job. And finally, I bombard him enough to get him to a point where he says, we'll see. So, we'll see to me is a small victory. Alright? So, Christmas time comes. He's going from store to store to store. Nobody's got it. Finally, I don't know the entire story, but I know all of his friends at work pitched in and helped me get a PlayStation. And one of the funniest memories I have with that console is waking up at my grandmother's house, and she's getting me dressed and ready to go out and look at my presents, and my dad is sitting there on the PlayStation playing the Tekken 2 demo that came with the interactive sampler disc. And that was fun. Some games that I really enjoyed on that were, obviously, the Tekken franchise was great. Twisted Metal was probably my favorite franchise on the PlayStation at the time, with Twisted Metal 2 being the absolute best. And then, fast forward to 98 is when I moved to where I am now. And I had gotten a Nintendo 64, but a little bit about that is when the recreation director of this place showed me the recreation room, I saw the fact that they had, like, numerous consoles. They had a Super Nintendo, they had a Genesis, they had and they had a Nintendo 64. And a few of my friends around here loved to get together and play GoldenEye 007. And I loved it too. I remember seeing it at a KB Toys. And I was playing on the little kiosk while everybody else did the shopping. And, you know, due to circumstances that I won't go into in this video, the people here asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said a Nintendo 64, and I ended up getting one. And with that, I got, I believe it was Ken Griffey All-Star Baseball. He had some sort of baseball game on that system. And I was a WCW fan, so I got a few wrestling games. I got WCW versus NWO World Tour, and later that year I got my hands on Revenge, which is a wrestling game that defined my childhood, and more importantly, got me loving the Nintendo 64. Sorry, I had to think about my words. Anyway, accessibility in gaming is important because I feel like a lot of these developers don't really think about the disabled as a consumer, and a lot of them don't see us as a demographic that plays a ton of video games. But everyone that I know that has a disability, everyone that I know has a console and actively plays. So I think there's a misconception there as to the fact of that they don't know that we play. It's either they don't know, or some of them honestly don't care because we don't make a dent we don't make big enough of a dent in the sales figures. Now, with my last review, the God of War review for the PS4, I praised the developer for having an accessibility menu in the game, because it shows that maybe, just maybe, the culture is changing. I know God of War has an accessibility thing. I know Uncharted 4, Naughty Dog is starting to get the picture. But there are still a few developers out there that I feel are not completely oblivious, but they either don't know that we play, or they don't care that we play. And that has always been my mission on this channel. When I first started this, I got the idea from watching a few of my favorite YouTubers. Metal Jesus Rocks, Alpha Omega Sin, RGT85, these are vloggers, but Kid Behind a Camera, The Angry Grandpa Show, rest in peace Angry Grandpa, Boogie2988, Be Our Guest, who is new to the YouTube game, but helped inspire me to get my ass in gear and start doing videos. And it's all thanks to my friends Phil and Sean for believing in me and helping me get some equipment and some games that I wanted to review for this channel. Also, shout out to my man No Continues, and also Maximilian Dude. The things you guys do for the fighting game community, and the No Continues you for the Mugen community. I mean, I have a Mac computer, so I don't really know too much about Mugen, but I hope that I'm able to get a PC so I can totally experience some of these great Mugen games that you've been reviewing. But those are just some of the guys that have inspired this journey for me, and I can't thank them enough for everything that they have, that I've learned from watching their videos. And I'm gonna take what they do and sort of blaze my own path, and I'm hoping to garner their support along the way. Anyway, guys, I just realized that this video is nearly 27 minutes long. It was just a rant. Not a rant. I just wanted to talk with you guys and let you know why I got started in this. I also have, really quickly, a written blog. And the blog was meant to go away after the channel got launched. I'm gonna keep it up for a little while longer, but if you want to know what's going on with me, what I'm gonna be reviewing, just come to the channel. We're all gonna have some fun. This is gonna be a great journey. I have 18 subscribers, and to those 18, thank you so much. And to more potential subscribers, welcome aboard. You guys are gonna become part of a family, and I hope that I can bring you great content. In the meantime, I just wanted to give you guys a quick schedule as to what's coming up. Of course, I'm going to be doing the God of War playthrough. I'm going to be doing a God of War playthrough. I want to do a Resident Evil 7 nighttime only playthrough so you guys can see me squeal like a little girl. Because I want you guys to laugh too. And if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right? But I think the next game that I'm going to have an in-depth review of is, I know it's a little bit old now, but Dragon Ball FighterZ. I've already captured some gameplay footage, so that is going to be a brand new format for my reviews. I'm going to capture the footage and then work on getting a video out for you guys. But the footage for DBFZ is already captured and stuff. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end this video here. It's almost 30 minutes long. If you've watched, put in the comments that you watched the whole thing. If you like the video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias, which I will link in the description below. And thank you guys for being with me on this journey. Talk to you later.